Carl Harrison is in charge, and he has been in charge for 10 games now. Just 2 wins so far. There he is on the right of your picture at Widnes and here against Wakefield. It was actually back-to-back wins. They've lost 5 in a row since the honeymoon period. Big match referee, and it's a tough one for Russell Smith to control tonight because the stakes, Steve-O, are so high.
Yeah, and when a position like this, that both sides, they'll be reluctant, I feel, to do anything over the top. They'll play very safe indeed. It is extremely warm out there, and it will take its toll as this game progresses, but both sides, I'm sure, will be looking to ensure they don't come up with a mistake early in this match.
A vital 80 minutes, and Graham Holroyd with a short kick-off, and Alker is after it, and it's come up with it for the Salford City Reds. That's good thinking. That was planned. Blakely was the dummy half, and it's driven in by Paul Heighton. What a good, inventive start by Salford.
Wonderful stuff there, because Adrian Vowles, who was down to play loose forward, he's playing in the hooker position, and he was very slow. He should have been on that 10-metre mark.
Eberl to his feet. Alker, the drive in from Neil Baines. They're just a metre short of the line, and this is the first attack. It's with Holroyd now. Back on the inside it goes to Gibson, and Gibson keeps the movement going, finds Holroyd again. Here is Steve Blakely trying to skip his way through the defence. They lost a little bit of ground then. This is the last tackle. They go down the short side. Holroyd to the in-goal. Somertabur slips, gets the ball away brilliantly, and Holland will try and work it out, and that's exactly what he does.
Good work there. They took the gamble, passed the ball in the in-goal area. Wonderful play by the fullback, Martin Holland, combining with the winger.
Well, Salford will be annoyed that they didn't come up with anything as a result of that inventive kick-off from Graham Holroyd, but they have set the tone for this match.
Well, it shows that they are full of confidence. That's one thing that Carl Harrison, their new coach, has instilled in this side, as well as sorting out their defence. They had quite a few lapses in that department throughout the first part of the season.
Inside the 40-metre mark there was Brad Davis, and Gibson funnels his way down the touchline and picks up and will launch the next Salford attack. This is the way the sides line up. Gibson is the fullback, Reardon, Maloney, Hunt and Arnold, Holroyd and Blakely for Salford in the backs. In the forwards, Baines, Alker, Heighton, Eberl, Treacy the captain, and Wainwright. And the bench occupied by Southern, Price, Coley and Watson, and the coach is Carl Harrison. Now the Wakefield Wildcats. Holland at fullback, Somertabur, Tassel, once of Salford, Bird, Frew, Moana and Davis the skipper. And the forwards, this is where there have been changes. Feather and Vowles now at hooker, Jackson, Field, Slattery named originally on the bench in the second row, not dropping back to loose forward. And on the bench, Broadbent, March, who was named as hooker, Hanforth and Ellis. The football manager for the Wakefield Wildcats, Shane McNally, his number 2, his player coach, is Adrian Vowles, who's out there on the field. And here is Neil Baines for Salford. They have this territory because they got a penalty.
Well, they're getting a roll on, they're getting over the advantage line.
Alker to Blakely. Here is Holroyd. He skips inside 2, straightens it up. Holroyd trying to jink his way past Holland. Very important tackle from the Wakefield fullback. Alker again. Here's Blakely. Good chasing, good harrying there by Slattery. And Alker again. Wainwright, big hit. Great tackle by Bird.
Ball and all just snuffed him out. Well, full credit to the Wildcats.
Wonderful defence, and it's had to stand firm on 2 raids now from the Salford City Reds. Vowles to his feet, plays the ball.
Well, I thought Paul Heighton, the prop forward, just lost the plot there slightly. Good tackle by Vowles in the end, but they went for the power play, but I'm not so sure the prop forward realised. They've opted for 2 kicks already in the Salford side. They made a right meal of that.
Here's Martin Holland, the Wakefield fullback, head-to-head, as you can see, over the years, tight as a drum between these two. Here at Salford, the City Reds do hold sway, and the Super League stat is interesting. 8 Wakefield victories, 3 for Salford. Gibson gets the ball wide to Danny Arnold, who cuts in field.
Good combination yet again. Got a lot of quality of Damien Gibson, and he's looking for the space. Well, it's all Salford at the moment, but full credit to Wakefield. They really are getting back in numbers. But it's got to be tiring them, the way they're having to come back and just scramble their defence.
Well, the sun's streaming down here at the Willows. It must be still in the high 70s, I would suggest. So fitness will play an important part. And here is Francis Maloney. Gets the ball out wide. And Reardon gets to his feet. Maloney then finds Greg Ebrill. They're 30 metres away on the last tackle. Holroyd with the kick just stabs it through. And Holland will watch that, and it bounces over the dead ball line. Well, there's Shane McNally on the right of your screen in the hat and the walkie-talkie. He is the man in charge off the field, and there is Adrian Vowles. They brought him from Leeds to try and prop up their bid to stay in Super League, and there have been one or two changes this year for Wakefield, not only in the coaching ranks but also out there on the field itself. Vowles may be the key for them to stay in Super League next year.
Well, he's no stranger to the hooking role. He's popped in there on several occasions, and it's maybe the toughness that they need, and that was the knock-on. Oh, he's got for offside.
He's got Salford for offside, yes. Allowing advantage to play. None was forthcoming, and Adrian Vowles will be a very relieved man.
Certainly will be, but you can see there on the wide shot, about 5 or 6 that the official could have pinned. And not surprisingly, with this game, it is so tense, they're going to take the 2 on offer.
Well, 2 points, so important. Carl Harrison knows that. Steve Sims alongside him. He moved in here when it all went wrong for Steve McCormack. He was our guest last night. Ian Knott, formerly of Warrington, is taking the goal-kicking responsibilities for Wakefield. But Carl Harrison was saying, and indeed Shane McNally was telling me this week, that his side and Salford, they've been playing really well without getting the results just lately.
Yeah, and the most important factor that both the new coaches have instilled a little bit stronger defence, which builds your confidence there.
And this will build Wakefield's confidence because they've weathered the early storm and they have an early lead, courtesy of the boot of Ian Knott. They lead by 2 points to 0. Knott has started the last 4, over 100 points for Warrington before a winter move across the Pennines to Wakefield, and Shane McNally's men are off and running.
And they'll be quite happy as well with the fact that they've had very little of the football, but the most important factor is that they've taken the lead without the football.
You might have noticed there, sitting in front of Shane McNally, wily old Peter Fox as well, very much involved with the Wildcats still. Holroyd with a deep kick-off this time, varying the tactic. Davis was underneath it, and a good chase. There is Peter Fox.
He knows a lot about the rugby league game, I can assure you of that. And I think it's wonderful that he puts a lot of time and effort into supporting the Wakefield side. But I think the big key tonight, Eddie, is Brad Davis, the Wakefield skipper, and his combination with Martin Moana and Adrian Vowles. That trio, if they can get things working, then Salford could be in a lot of trouble.
There is Moana. Turns the ball inside to the prop forward Paul Jackson, who has missed the last 2, straight back in. And there's Davis. His kicking is going to be so important. It's a midfield bomb, and Davis is after it. So too was Dion Bird, and it was well claimed in the end by Reardon. A good job that young Stuart Reardon, brought to Salford from the Bradford Bulls, got that tackle in.
Well, that spells a lot of danger. Good work by the winger, as Eddie has already mentioned, but when Davis put plenty of height on that football, I'm sure the message will go out now from Carl Harrison, say, come on, fellas. Get themselves sorted out when the high ball goes up. And that's solid defence.
Was Vowles leading the way on Baines. The tackle was completed, but Wakefield had moved up too quickly. Salford now have the penalty, but it's on halfway.
There again, 4 to 5 for the official to take. And any more of this, I'm sure that Russell Smith will say to both captains anymore, and there'll be 10 in the sin bin, and rightly so.
Well, Wakefield needed a last day 32-24 win here 11 months ago to condemn Huddersfield to relegation. So they've been across this territory before. Baines stands there. under pressure from Bowles, gets it away to Blakely! First try to Salford. Blakely behind the posts. It was created by the run from Neil Baines. He just bounced Adrian Bowles out of the way, and Blakely, the 29-year-old former England international, touches down underneath the posts. Important try.
Sure is. Good effort from the prop forward there. You can see Bowles trying to take him on head on. He failed to do that. He brushed him away, left the opportunity. Steve Blakely, he knows the way to the try line, that's for sure, but it all came around by this. Get out of the way. Bowles hit the deck, and look at the step there in the dummy. That's classic stuff. And boy, don't the fans like it here. And the players realise it as well.
Holroyd with the chance to add the extras, which he does with ease from in front of the posts. Salford are ahead by 6 points to 2. Bottom club ahead against the team lying next to bottom of the Tetley's Super League table. What a win it would be for Salford if they could claim the victory here tonight. But there's the try scorer, signed a decade ago, and he stands third, as you can see, on the all-time Salford points charts, and two legends of this club, legendary names Risman and Watkins, ahead of him. Well, Carl Harrison doesn't show much, doesn't betray much emotion. He knows there's a long, long way to go before this match is won. And that's another drive forward by Paul Heighton. A real tower of strength for his coach. This is Stuart Reardon.
Well, I made the point that discipline will play its part, and Wakefield, of course, were in a handy position, even though they were defending when they gave away that penalty. And it allowed Salford the position to score that try. That could have been a penalty there. Interference had to play the ball.
Chances here for Treacy. Gets the ball away to Wainwright. And Wakefield having it all to do in defence.
Good run again from the second row of Treacy. That's the second time he's made the half burst.
Holroyd, ooh, that's a big hit. Low down it was Slattery. This is the last one. Blakely with the kick. Bounces off the back. Still the last. And the kick is poor from Malcolm Alker.
And he's usually a little bit better than that with the boot to ball. But he was under a lot of pressure.
Now here's Dion Bird, one of the newcomers.
Oh,
he's lost it. It was stolen. That's a big call from Russell Smith.
Well, Baines got him round the shoulders, and I think Alker it was that just got the hand in. Bump. Yeah, Alker dragged it out.
Good call. Good call by the official, Malcolm Alker, limping away from that challenge.
Good call from Russell Smith too.
It was. Here come Wakefield then, in the shape of Chris Feather, who has attracted huge interest from the Leeds Rhinos. This is Ian Knott. Now it's with Slattery. And a good tackle low down by Ebrel, finished off by Holroyd. Knott is the dummy half. Davis. He finds Martin Moana. Moana looks for the runners, and it was in front of the second row, and Sovatabua just can't take that ball in. Jamie Field couldn't get to it, and neither could the Fijian winger Wasere Sovatabua.
Well, it wasn't the best from Martin Moana. And again, these errors, mistakes, giving away penalties, just erodes against your confidence as the time goes by. No doubt Shane McNally will have jotted that down. Things to say at half-time.
Interesting to note the fixtures to come for these two. Salford, Hull away, Widnes away, Halifax, Warrington away, and Castleford. Castleford and Halifax here at home. For Wakefield, Leeds at home, Castleford away, Widnes at home, Halifax and Warrington. Halifax away, Warrington at home. So all the bottom four have to play each other. It's not over yet by a long chalk, no matter what happens here tonight.
Yeah, but both coaches and the players realise that this is the most important. This is their grand final as far as I'm concerned.
Baines doing really well with that drive in, turning and offloading. He got the ball away to Alker, but he is halted on halfway. Slattery and Davis with the tackling. Blakely to Heighton. Again, he drives it forward. That's the last tackle for Salford.
Well, the Salford Reds realise if they win today, psychologically, that's a wonderful lift for the team.
Indeed so. Sovatabua. Treacy got to him. a try against Wakefield here last month for Darren Treacy.
Oh, punch
Punching and pushing and show, knock on. The knock-on goes against Chris Tassel, and the referee is saying to them it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. There's no penalty.
Yeah, well, he went and grabbed his shirt, tried to knock him away. Well, that's good refereeing, Eddie.
Chris Tassel, formerly with Salford, he joined Wakefield in the close season. He won't have enjoyed that moment, because this is dangerous for the Wakefield Wildcats.
Well,
Salford 20 metres away.
Salford normally bring in the fullback Damien Gibson. You can see him stood right down in that bottom left-hand corner. So keep your eyes out for Graham Holroyd. Maybe he'll bring the fullback in.
Well, that ball wasn't out of the scrum, and Wakefield had moved away from the scrum. Allows them to play on, though, and here is Greg Ebrill. London Knott are there, and Moana as well. Alker, the dummy half. Heighton. Alker again. Baines to use his strength. And they managed to hold him out. It took 3 to pull him down. Alker again. Not the best.
Play on.
It was Brad Davis first to react when the ball hit the deck. All offside, Salford. I think it might be one of those nights.
Well, they know they've got to get into each other's face, and that's why they're so enthusiastic. Trying to force the error, should I say. But there was 3 or 4 yet again. Well, I'm just wondering when Mr. Smith will lose his patience.
Wakefield restart then. Oh, and a mistake, a huge blunder by Jackson. Salford have got it back. Alan Hunt on the left-hand side. Just couldn't get away from those two.
And that's a big error, because Waseli Sovatabua was having treatment way out on that Wakefield right wing, and they'll take the 2 here, surely.
Well, it's persistent offside by both teams.
He's got to do something about it. We know it's tense. But 16 and a half minutes into this game, they're just taking no notice of the merry whistleblower. And there's only one way that you can ensure that they do, is threaten them with a yellow card.
Well, Graham Holroyd will try and take the 2 extra points on offer here. Holroyd, one of 3 Salford men sent off against Wakefield here at the end of last season. That was a bruiser, because Wakefield had to win it to stay up. And Holroyd, left boot, trusty left boot at that. 2 more points to the City Reds total. They lead by 8 points to 2. Phil Clark on the sideline. It's very, very tense.
You know, from the sideline, Eddie, this game has the definite feel of a sudden death cup match. And I suppose the difficult thing for both coaches really is stressing the importance of winning here tonight, but also keeping your players relaxed enough to perform to the best. I think both sides have made a pretty decent start, and although Salford have dominated with possession, I like to see the aggression really in the Wakefield defence. It's pretty tough out there.
Back comes Salford again from the kick-off. The aggression then led by Jackson for Wakefield. Good chase from the kick-off. And possession, well, it's all Salford, isn't it, at the moment? 64% of it, of the game so far in Salford's hands. And here is Baines, who's been making some good hard yards for Salford. He created the first try for them.
It's so solid, difficult to get down. It surprises me that a lot of teams don't go low. Try to take him on, and look at the size, the upper body strength there. It's tremendous.
Formerly with Wigan. Heighton again.
Well, they're not the tallest of 2 props, are they? Heighton and Baines, but they get through a lot of work.
Here's Holroyd. Davis was after him. Holroyd got the kick in, and that will... Oh, he's in trouble, and he gets out of it well, does Martin Holland.
Well, I think even Salford thought that it was going dead in goal, and that's why they stopped, which you should never do. Whenever there's a kick, I mean, oh, what a mistake that is.
Sovatabua gifted the possession there, and Salford have it back.
Oh, looks like Moana's injured.
That's a blow. This is Wainwright, and he loses it now.
Play on. What? Oh, and there's a knock on. Well, the tension He allowed the advantage on both occasions, did Russell Smith. Oh, what a big hit. Super stuff from Chris Feather.
Yes.
Oh, what's this? Bang, right into the rib cage, underneath the arms. And if you're not holding that ball tightly enough, and there's a problem for Moana. He picked that up trying to tackle just a few seconds ago.
He's made the return to Super League from Doncaster this year. This is 18th consecutive appearance tonight. 7 years at Halifax. You may remember Martin Moana. He helped them into the 1998 playoffs. And Salford, this time the ball sticks.
And a good run as well. You can get over the advantage line, it gets you out of a lot of trouble. Not only for the fact that it gets you in a good position, so you can, when you do get the kick, you're going to force Salford back into their own quarter.
Frew plays the ball to Dion Bird. Bird tries to duck under the challenge of Ebril. Vowles at dummy half. And Frew is dumped to the ground with a very good tackle by Reardon. Vowles again. Davis. Wide to Moana. Looks as though he might be running that injury off. Slattery. Sovatabua. Not the best.
Oh, he took it. And the tackle was enough to push him through. This will be head and feed to the Wildcats.
Well, in the end, it came up for Sovatabua.
Came off the side of his boot, not the best there. But you see Alan Hunt, as soon as he touched the football, he was heading for the whitewash. Saved the day. Big mistake there from Mr. Hunt.
Yes, a man with vast experience, Alan Hunt, 32 years of age, former Great Britain and England international, over 400 career games now. But this is the opportunity that Wakefield have been looking for, and Moana, with Wainwright and Holroyd around him.
Then again, Eddie, you see that such a big fella, why they try to go for ball and all? It's all right, one of you doing it, as long as someone's going for the legs.
Slattery, quick play the ball to Adrian Vowles. Good ball back on the inside to Davis. Baines with a very important tackle.
Was it ever? Oh, he felt that.
Vowles dummy half. And we'll come down the short side, Vowles. This is Andrew Frew. Vowles again. Davis. Wide it goes to Moana. And Jamie Field on the last tackle. Dion Bird will attack the line. That bounced off a Salford foot. It's still the last though. A drive in by Feather again. And Salford survived, but the crowd behind the post, all with Wakefield colours on, they say that they should have had 6 to go, but I don't think that was right. I think Russell Smith got it spot on.
He sure did. But a good run from the prop forward Feather. And that would have built the Wildcats' confidence. They were just a little bit off the boil. And it wasn't a back kick from Dion Bird, but as Eddie has just mentioned, the official got it spot on.
Alka gets the ball away, and Treacy again makes some good yards up the middle.
They're utilising him well. That should be a penalty, and it is.
And he's calling the captain now.
Well, Martin Moana at a second shot. There's little doubt about it that Moana, and he is still on the floor, and they shot it there. The second rower, Darren Treacy. Well, I must say, Carl Harrison, the Salford coach, is utilising very well indeed. He's pushing him wide out of the centres and is making an impact.
Well, it's in your hands, he said to Brad Davis. Talk to your players. Somebody might be in the bin next time there is a penalty against the Wildcats.
Well, it surprised me. It's taking 23 minutes for the official to give one or the other side a warning. They've both been at it.
Andy Coley coming on. He's featured in the last 11. His early season absence really cost Steve McCormack dearly. And there he is, immediately in the action, Andy Coley. Played for the Lancashire side in the Origin last year. A drive in here by Heighton. Plays the ball to Alka. Here's Alan Hunt. Good tackle by Chris Tassel. Alka again. Looping pass to Blakely. Better ball to Holroyd. Looking for the runners. It's Maloney. And he lost it.
Certainly lost it, but the official hasn't caught it. He has now.
Yes, the touch judge saw it.
I'm just about to praise him for making sure that he went down pretty quick. Give Dion Bird no opportunity to drag him to the whitewash, but he just lost control, and that's sufficient.
Francis Maloney, formerly with Wakefield, 13 appearances with them in the year 2000. They've got to reverse recent history, Salford, to claim one of the most important wins in recent years here. They've lost 7 of their previous 10 against Wakefield since 1999. Not a great stat for the Salford City Reds. This is Tassel of Wakefield.
They won't be worried what's gone on in the past, Eddie. It's the future that they've got to look to.
Good offload. Moana swoops on it, and here come the Wildcats again, and it's Feather once more, who does brilliantly in offloads to Davis.
Well, again, we see Salford going very high indeed, where no one's going for the legs.
Good hands. Andrew Frew is very quick, and he's too quick for Salford. Chris Feather built the foundations for that with the drive forward, and once they got the roll on, Salford had no answer to the pace of Andrew Frew. He was at Huddersfield last year, they went down. He doesn't want to suffer the same fate twice.
Beautiful work there by the centre, Dion Bird. They really got sucked in there. Watch for the defence from Salford, and it's Reardon that gets sucked in, and once Bird let this fella fly, he did just that. Great fight back.
Andrew Frew signed for Penrith, couldn't break into the first team. He came back, and he's now involved in his second big fight against relegation in successive years. 21 tries for Huddersfield last year, and Ian Knott, now with the opportunity, the former Great Britain Academy international, to level the scoreboard up. But he's just sliced it wide of the right-hand post. 8-6. It's tight, and we expected nothing else.
Well, I praise the defensive line of Salford, but you can see there that the winger, Stuart Reardon, wasn't quick enough to slide across. That's the problems with the sliding defence, as against man-on marking. If you get the overlap and you got the speed of this fella, you pay the price. And the Reds certainly did that. Good effort, good combination, centre and winger. Lovely to see.
Two clubs on show here who weren't in the original Super League party. They both have gained promotion to the upper echelons. And Wakefield, well, they came up in 1998 after winning the grand final against Featherstone at Huddersfield. They're in their 4th season in Super League, but it really has been an unremitting struggle for them ever since they joined the top flight. But Shane McNally believes they have the talent to stay in. Mind you, so does Carl Harrison. It will be an almighty scramble for these two clubs and Warrington, and indeed Halifax, before the end of the season. There's a danger that Halifax could easily be dragged into this relegation dogfight. Reardon did well to cut out the 40-20 opportunity for Davis, gathered the ball in, and Davis leading the chase. He's dumped to the ground with help from Slattery.
Good work from both sides. He was out of position for the try there, but Stuart Reardon did exceptionally well. Read it, knew the kick was coming to him.
Good tackle by Tassel on Gibson, and Tassel again with Sovatabua. He could have been penalised then, Sovatabua, for the push on Arnold. Here's Alan Hunt.
Well, isn't it amazing what a try can do for a side?
And Tassel is working so hard around the ruck. Andy Coley now.
Well, they were coming up with errors, giving away the penalties, but now the Wildcats are doing just that. They're getting wild, they're getting into it.
Martin Holland, their full back, trying to go between two. Maloney closed the gap quickly with Ebrel. Dion Bird. And here now is Andrew Frew again, the scorer of that try.
Just going back to that previous tackle from Greg Ebrel, the second rower. Beautiful technique, right round the legs. And both sides need to brush up on that department.
Fouls to Davis, and there's Moana. And Alan Hunt stood his ground against Tassel then.
Read it well, did Hunt. Just neat short pass.
Moana again. Here comes Jackson on the
That
charge.
was high.
It was, and Coley really gave himself up because he put the tackle in and he looked straight at Russell Smith.
Well, there's nowhere else for this fella to go. You could see there he went right over the top. Paul Heighton went in and right into the neck. Well, they've just lost their composure. A lovely try from Blakely, came after a lot of pressure. Baines got them into a good position, and it looked as though that they were in control. But you've got to hand it to the Wildcats. They've come back. Oh, it's classy work, and he was very pleased. Shane McNally with the way that they stretched the Salford defence. He wouldn't be happy with it, of course, knowing that Stuart Reardon, the winger, got sucked in.
Well, there's no doubt about it. Whenever either of these two sides get a penalty within shooting range of the post, they're going to take the opportunity for 2 points, because it might come down to the goal kicking at the end of the day. Ian Knott, that levels it. He missed the conversion earlier, but he made no mistake from that range. And the Wakefield fans are happy enough. It's 8-all.
They've thrown the gauntlet down in a game that Wakefield had little possession so far. And the coach, McNally, must be extremely happy, especially with the goal-kicking technique from this fella, as Eddie has mentioned. Not only is it an opportunity to get the 2 points, but you can get your breath back. It is extremely hot down there.
It is. That kick almost deceived the Wakefield defence then. It certainly bounced over the head of Davis. A good job that Feather was there. Salford make a change. Holland gets away almost. Coley this time with a legal tackle. Dion Bird, Martin Moana, wide to Tassel. Somatabu is on his outside. Gives it to the Fijian. And he offloaded it. It went backwards to Dion Bird. Oh, they had Tassel on the overlap out wide.
He couldn't get his arms free, but it was a great take from Bird.
They're on the roll though, and this is Slattery. Important tackle from Michael Wainwright.
Was it ever?
Ian Knott, Adrian Vowles, misses out Davis, looks for Frew. Frew comes on the inside, Maloney with the tackle.
Reardon was not going to be caught out on that occasion.
Knott to Davis, there's the kick out wide, looking for Tassel. He palms it back and claims the possession back again himself. It was on the last, it's the turnover, and Salford survive. Nothing to choose between these two sides. Phil Clark.
No, I'd agree with you. I think in terms of talent and ability, these two sides, in fact the two squads, are probably pretty evenly matched. So it would probably boil down really to which team wants it the most, and I'd be a little bit worried if I was in the Salford camp, because Wakefield just seem to have a greater deal of enthusiasm, doing the simple things that much better, that much quicker, and really I think they seem to be the ones at the moment with the ascendancy.
Well, he looks stern, does Carl Harrison. Here is Wainwright. Spun to the ground. Maloney the dummy half, and Holroyd is outside the 40 mark. Martin Holland traps it with the foot. And Paul Broadbent comes on. Oh, that's a big hit, and it was dangerous.
Well, to be fair, he didn't follow through. Treacy picked him up and threw him to the ground. But I think he put his hands inside. Let's have a look.
No, it's the lifting I think he got it for.
Lifting up. Didn't follow through, thankfully, or he tried to. It's maybe the major reason why Russell Smith said there'll be a penalty. There's one thing proving how tough you can be and how good you can tackle. There's another thing in giving the opposition the opportunity to get 40 or 50 metres downfield. Just lost their way slightly of the Reds.
You might have noticed that Paul Broadbent came on. Substitute, the former Great Britain and England international, ex-Sheffield Eagles. And he is a man, I can tell you, who doesn't particularly like the tropical heat. He suffered a bit on the odd occasions that we had a heat wave last year when he was playing in Super League for Hull.
Well, to be fair, Eddie, the forwards...
Here he is now.
They're not too impressed in any section when it's really warm like this.
Well, that went forward anyway, but it is play on. They have a chance here now. Alan Hunt, wide to Danny Arnold. He's got Somatabu in front of him, and the Fijian international stands up to the tackle well.
This is a tackle that got the penalty, but the mistake yet again. So much pressure out there that some of them won't take the risk, and that really was a risky offload from Broadbent, especially the fact that just been brought into the match.
Alker again. Andy Coley now. Oh, he's lost that.
Well, it was 1-1. I'm not so sure that it was reefed out, so that's all in the rules. Got it right. No, I just lost it. Of course, also the fact, Eddie, that it is warm. The palms are wet, sweating. Really difficult to hold the football.
Broadbent hangs on there. Hunt all over his back, and he will get the penalty, Broadbent.
He'll bring the captain out now, he has to. He's already warned Wakefield, so he'll go tit for tat, and he's doing exactly that.
Very similar situation to what we've had with a number of penalties.
Should have rolled away. Well, they're going to pay the price, Salford. In a game that I mentioned, they appeared to be in full control after they opened the scoring. And he's not impressed. Carl Harrison, and rightly so.
Brad Davis dumps the ball into touch. Big opportunity here then for Wakefield to take a half-time lead. Vowles restarts. Davis has got Broadbent. What an important tackle from Damien Gibson. Vowles spins the ball wide to Ian Knott, taking on Wainwright, and Holroyd still going.
What a tackle from Gibson, though. It looked as though the big fella Broadbent was underneath the sticks. Well, the referee's calling held, and they're still struggling on. It could have been penalised there.
This is Slattery, and Slattery now is hauled down. Vowles waits to Moana. It goes wide to Davis, looking for, it's forward to Tassel.
Well, it looked that way. Either way, the welcoming committee was there.
Davis again. Moana away from one. Coley and Alker.
Now then, will they go for the one? No.
Davis, quick hands, and well, too quick. Everybody had overrun it down the right-hand side.
Well, it's amazing, isn't it, that you just get too excited at times, and that's what occurred there. It was under a lot of pressure. Full credit to Alan Hunt, applied the pressure to Brad Davis, but in a situation like that, where they've just started to take control, and Wakefield was certainly doing that, is that you've got to control it. Davis should have gone a kick into the in-goal area and try to get consecutive sets of 6.
They're certainly at the pace of this game now, Wakefield, and that was a little slip out the back door by Paul Southern that Graham Holroyd capitalised on. Alker, and here's Blakely to the halfway line before he was dumped to the ground. That was Moana and Gareth Ellis. Here's Southern again. Paul Southern looking for the next phase of attack. It didn't come.
Did well to keep hold of that.
Wainwright, they're running it. Maloney dabbed the ball all along the ground and it finds touch.
Not a bad option, but just miscued it. Realised it as well. Yeah, there was no way down that cul-de-sac on the right-hand side. Got a lot of experience, this fella.
Yes, Francis Maloney has got the experience. He's got to try in the last home game as well against Wigan.
Well, the Reds now will be trying to force the mistake.
And Bird with the first tackle.
Quickly get up, Alan. Let him up, hands up.
Alan Hunt and Graham Holroyd. Oh, nearly lost it.
This would be a good time to go for it. 40-20 perhaps.
Good tackling again from the Salford defence. Ebrel leading the way. Slattery. And that is Ian Knott who takes the tackle. Vowles, the 1999 Man of Steel, remember, at Castleford. In a real dogfight against relegation, they've lost the ball.
Well, surely the tackle had been completed. No reason for Davis to continue on.
Well, the referee said he wasn't tackled, so that's why he's allowed them to play on.
There's a mistake. Oh, you're right. I thought Davis had touched it. My apologies to Mr. Russell Smith.
Paul Southern
Well, I must say he's handling this game quite well.
Well,
He's lost it. He lost it. He tried to offload. And that's the pressure that we're talking about.
And that's the experience that we talked about earlier on from a man like Adrian Vowles. He's in there, he's at the heart of everything, Vowles. Here he is again.
He knows how to slow the game down, and that's in Wakefield's favour at the moment.
Here's Slattery. Alker and Wainwright. Well, I wonder whether they will go for the 1 point just before half-time. He will drive it in here.
Well, I suspect that Brad Davis might do a little dink over the top.
Here's Davis going for the 1-pointer.
Missed it.
Pulled it wide.
Hang on, Malcolm, wait! It's all right, play, Mark. It's all right. Well done, mate.
Well, there's not much time left. It's going to be a kick and chase, is it? No, Danny Arnold will take the last tackle of the first half. There's the half-time siren. Nothing to choose between the two, and the coaches quickly out of the stands on their near side and on their way over to the dressing rooms.